Okay. Life cycle of chicken, no? Dito muna tayo sa introduction, the life cycle of chickens. Very important. Alam natin yung age, yung differences ng chicken. Baka iba yung maintindihan nyo, baka fried chicken at boiled egg lang ang ating naintindihan dito, no? So, importante po na alam natin ito. And then, here, when you see in this wheel, no, cycle, no, ang makikita natin dito, from a baby chick, no, ito ay it will grow to become pullet or cockerel or a young chicken, and then eventually to become adult na magkakaroon na ng egg production, no? They start to lay. Now, one common question tinatanong sa akin, mangingitlog ba, Doc, ang hen kung may kailangan ng rooster? No, you don't need a rooster to make the hen lay eggs. As long as the hen is healthy and feeding well, tama yung kanyang nutrition, they will be producing eggs. And the genetics, of course, is very important that it is correct, no? And then the hen lays eggs. Then, under natural farming methods, the hen will sit on the eggs and will hatch after 21 days to become the chick, and then the cycle goes around, no? Now, more technical side, a hatching egg is a fertilized egg and will be set for hatching, no? At 21 days of incubation, the chicken will hatch to become a day-old baby chick. Now, ang ano dyan is from day 1, day-old chick, to 4.5 months, based on the genetics that we use, this will become ready to lay pullets, or 4.5 months prepared na siya to lay eggs. So we call them pullets. Now, once they lay egg at 4.5 to 5 months of age, the egg drop of first egg, they become layer hens, no? So layers, from pullet to layers, yun po yung technical term, no? Layer from 4.5 months naman to 17 months of age, they will produce 280 eggs as a potential egg production. So malakas pong mangitlog as long as the genetics is correct, management is correct, and nutrition is correct, no? So kada isang hen will produce at a term of more than a year cycle, it will produce 280 eggs potential. Okay? But everything has to be based on science. So there is the scientific poultry program that we need to learn, no? How does a scientific poultry program work, no? We need to learn first the terms of references, no? Yung ating mga terminologies para po we are at the same page when we do the program. A day-old chick or a DOC, no? A newly hatched chick usually within 24 hours after hatch. So ibig sabihin po niyan, a day-old chick is usually termed for broilers, no? For broiler meat production, DOC. While a day-old pullet is for layers, because pullets are females, no? A newly hatched layer chick. Day-old breeders, DOB, no? A newly hatched breeder chick from certified sources. So we always put the word certified because the program has to be successful based on parents na alam nating malakas mangitlog, malakas magkarne, etc. Pullets or a pullet is a female layer chick between 2 to 4.5 months old. So before laying eggs, a layer is once it lay an egg, it is called a female layer or a layer in short. Ready to lay are female layer chickens age 3.5 to 4.5. Yan po ang tawag dyan, no? 3.5 to 4.5 months. Parent stocks or PS, classified as breeders that were produced by grandparent stocks. It is based or produced from a scientific process of natural genetic selection from grandparent stocks. So galing po ito sa science-based genetic breeding and production from grandparent stock. So, mga lolo naman ito, no? Lolo't lola, no? And paired to produce the offspring. So, parent stocks are coming from grandparent stocks, and the parent stocks are the ones producing the F1 hybrids for maximum meat and egg production over least feeds used, no? So, ang bottom line din po rito, less gastos, more production. So, feeds is 70% of your cost, and it has to be managed properly without sacrificing nutrition to have a good or high production of meat or eggs. Certified and guaranteed by a poultry genetic company. Bakit po kailangan yan? Kasi po pag magbebenta tayo ng mix breed, hindi natin alam ang resulta, tapos magkiklaim tayo na ganito yan, ganyan, hindi po dapat kasi we are misleading or misrepresenting the genetic company. Selection from pure lines and paired to provide maximum meat or egg production, no? Over least feeds used. Usually pre-selected from pure lines ang GPS mo, no? Okay. Grandparent stocks or GPS produced from a scientific process of natural genetic program. So, poultry, animal husbandry, and breeding. No? F1 is a term used as filial 1. So, F1 po, dyan po nakuha F1 na yan. Filial 1. So, anak from chicks or chickens produced by certified parent stocks from a certified genetic company. The best genetic combination for a specific category, either for meat or egg production. No? Uniform and accurate productivity results. Ibig sabihin din po nito, auto or feather sexable. Always ask for the breeder certification. So, yan po, meron na naman tayong light bulb sa dulo, no? Import permits, no? Ano ibig sabihin to? These are provided by the Bureau of Animal Industry of the Department of Agriculture that meets all the SPS, no? Sanitation and phytosanitation to provide the permit. So, in short po, legal importation ang ginagawa natin. These are not smuggled genetics. Important to have a legal source of genetic supplies because dyan po nakasalalay ang long-term business ninyo. Kung puro papuslit-puslit lang ang ating lahi, wala pong kasiguruhan ng programang magagawa natin ito. And above and beyond, the quality is consistent. That is very important. So, we want to show you a video, no? And in the meantime, and just for an idea of how we started in free-range chicken production, no?
Gilbert, siguro naman mahilig ka sa manok.
Oo, kasi yung pamilya namin, meron kami mga poultry na pinagkakakitaan namin. Pero ang balita ko, yung manok pwede ng pagkakitaan kahit maliit na pakuran lamang.
Oo nga daw, at kahit hindi ka lakihan yung inyong farm, aba, pwede ka daw kumita dito ng maganda. At balita ko friends, parang mga chika na ito.
Parte ng concept.
Ano yun? Kakaibang manok, malaki at malulusog. French chicken ang tawag dito mula sa bansang France, syempre. At ang good news pa, pwede na rin palakihin at paramihin dito sa atin ang mga French chicken sa paraan o sistema free range.
So it's a remote breeder from France based on a Rhode Island red na male and a female that is red full-feathered female. Pagka gusto natin pagandahin o palakihin ang sistema ng free range na kumita ang farmer, kailangan ang uniform o pantay-pantay, pare-pareho kulay at laki ng production nila. So dapat isang kulay lang ang dapat makuha nila. Kung iba-iba ang kulay, nagiging novelty o nagiging fancy chicken siya. Ang objective natin, kumita ang farmer sa pagpapalaki ng karne ng anak nito.
40 pesos ang kada isang sisiw na kapag naparami at napalaki, ay talaga raw swak na kita ang ibibigay sa mga mag-aalaga nito. Ang maganda pa, di naman daw kailangan ang napakalaking farm o lupain para sa free-range chicken.
Ako nandito sa 50 pirasong sisiw na makukuha mo kasama ang feeds at konting paglalagay ng kulungan sa iyong bakuran, around 2,000 to 2,500 sa 50 heads. Ang kikitain ng farmer dito, lagay na natin approximately 1,500 to 2,000 pagka tininta niya na yung lahat ng 50. Importante punto rito, yung farmer o yung nag-aalaga, magkakaroon ng pagkain sa lamesa. Number 2, yung surplus niyang mais, palay, o darap, pwede niyang gamitin. Yung surplus naman, para niya sa pamilya niya, yung mga anak niya, o ang asawa niya, pwedeng mag-alaga nito sa bahay. Kumita na siya, may pagkain pa siya.
Para magtagumpay sa ganitong negosyo, kailangan siyempre ang tamang kaalaman o technical know-how.
Napaka-importante kasi sa livestock business. Pag nasa livestock, importante na educated ang bawat farmer. Hindi kailangan may pinag-aralan, pero kailangan alam niya yung gagawin niya. Kasi sa halagang ilalabas ng farmer, yung mga smart farmers, pagka hindi marunong at namatay ang mga manok, lugi agad.
O, ano pang hinihintay niyo mga suki? Kung gusto niyong kumita at meron din lang kayong pwesto, try your luck na dito sa free-range chicken.
Okay, so we proceed, no? It's a video, and that was about 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And we were trying to start out the production. And from the start, it is very important that everything is based on good genetics and science-based, no? Are all chickens created equal? We need to learn and understand the different chicken breeds, varieties, and production para po ma-adapt nyo yung tamang sistema sa tamang lahi. Hindi po yung makakita kayo ng manok lang, gagawin yung ganito, gagawin yung ganyan. Hindi po pwede yun eh. Kailangan po may basis of productivity and purity online para po maging source of good genetics. Konting history po sa domesticated poultry. It was known before that in Southeast Asia is the probable source of domestication of chickens. Since the word for the domestic chicken is manok, and it is reconstructed from Proto-Austronesian language. So manok is known in Asia as a common name for chicken, no? During the old languages. It is more surprising in the light of the belief by many archaeologists that chickens were first domesticated not for eating but for cockfighting. In its habitat, ito po importante, kaya po naka-red tayo, no? Red letters tayo. Northeastern India to the Philippines, Gallus, which is the scientific name of chicken, browses on the forest floor for insects, seeds, and fruits, and flies up to the nest in the trees at night. So yung pong statement na yan, we're trying to adapt this natural habitat or yung poultry ethology na dapat ang manok has the best possible and practical habitat o lugar na pagpapalaki para po maging less stressful sa kanila ang kanilang production. The chicken was the first domesticated animal and the first bird, and consequently the first descendant of the dinosaur. So yung kanya pong mga movements pagka po nagre-range are related or similar to dinosaurs, no? Ranging dinosaurs. Makikita po natin dito here the mature body weight of a jungle fowl o yung ating labuyo, no? Yung ating manok sa bundok, no? And 2 pounds lang ho ang nilalaki niyan sa matured level niya, or in kilo, 1 kilo lang po yan. After about a year of maturity, ang egg production po niya mababa, 10 to 12 eggs a year lang siya. and very selective sa habitat niya at sa kanyang surrounding. Pero dito po na-develop ang meat, egg production, and pure breed production. So ito po yung basis, isa sa mga platform basis ng production natin for livestock sa poultry. So setting up some kind of family tree, no, the ancient indigenous chickens, no, yung mga pure like alabuyo, pure asil, no, pure Egyptian, pure Chinese chickens, and after the domestication of these mountain chickens, no, nagkaroon tayo ng mga Asian varieties, no, asil, Malay, Chinese, Parawakan, etc. And yan yung mga common names na ngayon. And then the European heritage lines were developed, no? We call them heritage lines. And then the modern chicken in the 1900s through scientific selection at the dawn of industrial age, no? Itong panahon to, 1900s, that eventually led to improved genetics. At dito po lumabas yung mga European heritage like RIR or Rhode Island Red, no? Italian Leghorn, Sussex, Orpingtons, Brahman, Hampshire, Barred Plymouth Rocks, no? BPR or Barred Plymouth Rock, hindi po PBR. Importante po yung terms of preferences natin ay based on science. BPR, not PBR. Show types, no? Dito po makikita yung mga purest of the pure na ginagamit po for show type conditions, no? Classic commercial lines, ito na po yung mga heritage lines na good for high productivity and based on performance selection. So hindi lang po binibase dahil anak siya ng isang Rhode Island, yan ay gagamitin ng breeder. Hindi po, may commercial system po. Yan po explain natin mamaya. Hybridized chicken for commercial meat. Ito na po yung white chicken broiler production and hybridized chicken for commercial eggs. So ito na po yung mga hybrid, super hybrid white layers, no, for production. Dito naman po sa family tree ng chicken, no, from the jungle fowl, no, yan, red jungle fowl, no, yung manok labuyo na develop po yan at na-select 6,000 BC and then na domesticate and then in the 1900s po dyan po na-develop alin po yung magandang pangkarne at alin po yung magandang pang-itlog. Ang maganda pong makikita natin dito sa gitna ay ang Rhode Island Red, which is the common chassis or yung common foundation for broilers and layers. Yan po ang value ng Rhode Island Red sa development ng chicken meat at egg production, no? What is the genetic source of these poultry produce and the varieties, no? So important po ito na ang science-based program ay naipopropagate natin ng tama. Meron po tayong pedigree selection. Ang pedigree selection, ibig sabihin po niyan, binibase po sa productivity, least feeds consumed, better earning ng farmer, ang bottom line. So, ito po, for example, ang Rhode Island Red, Rhode Island White, no, Hampshire, no, and we have the Cornish and the Barred Plymouth Rock, no, and then from this is selected ang pedigree selection for meat. Diyan po kinukuha yan. So yung mga genetic company po, may mga tinitimpla sila mga combinations that will make their product malakas magkarne sa mabilis na panahon sa pinakakokonting feeds na ibibigay mo. So that is the common equation. Pang-itlog naman po, we have the Leghorn, the white Leghorn, no? Italian Leghorn or brown Leghorn, Rhode Island Red, Rhode Island White at Barred Plymouth Rock. These are the common pedigree selections na kinukuha na naman for egg production. So makikita niyo po may pangkarne at pang-itlog. At makikita natin dito, ang heritage lines are selected based on economic productivity. So, dyan po nila kinukuha yan. Alin po ang pinaka-productive to produce the broiler or meat type na maaring brown or white Yung white po sa Pilipinas ang popular ngayon na broiler production, no? Based on high capital and commodity-based poultry meat, and the colored chicken po, which is the what we call, yung mga naririnig nyo po nga free-range brown meat type, producing like Hubbard Grimo and Sasso, no? These are the companies that produce these kinds of chickens. For meat po yan, no? Hindi po siya pang-itlog. And then on the extreme right po ay ang layer type, no? Or brown or white eggers. So we have a selection here na for cage, yung mga nilalagay po na 3 hens in 1 cage for intensive layer production. And then we have the colored free-range layers for high-value small and medium-scale farmers. So pang small farming po, the best po talaga ang colored free-range layers versus using the white, which requires intensive housing, intensive feeding, and ang cost and sales is very, kumbaga, yung kita po hindi ganun kalaki dahil commodity product. Yun po ibig sabihin niya. Sa gitna po niyan ay ang dual types. So, yung dual types like the Rhode Island Red and the Bar-Plymouth combination ng dominant, which is very good for meat ng lalaki, no? And then eggs naman yung babae. Based on meat production, free range, no? Free range meat production, you use Hubbard, Brown, or Sasso. Company names po ito, hindi po pangalan ng chicken. Okay? So, kailangan po importante na intindihan natin yung terminologies lagi. Can be both for cage and free range use. Mabilis lumaki siya in cages or at 1.6 kilos in 47 days. Free range po 1.6 kilos in 55 days. With feeds din po yan. May feeds din po. Higher feed consumption than white. Kasi po siya is on a slow grow program. Hindi po yung pabilisan ng laki. Better price to free range. Mas mahal po siya pag binibenta. It can cost in the groceries or supermarkets of 320 or 300 to 320 pesos per kilo dressed chicken na po yun. Dual type Rhode Island Reds or we call dominant D853, which is a dual type RIR, is good for meat and eggs. So, yung pong babae, ginagamit natin pang itlog, yung lalaki, ginagamit natin pang karne. For meat, 1.6 in 65 days. So, yan po is a bit longer, slower po ang production, but the taste is different, the system is more relaxed, and the capitalization is much for smallholder farming. Ang eggs po niyan, pagka nagpo-produce is 280 eggs on the first cycle hanggang 70 weeks old ang kanyang productive span. No? Native meat po is around 1 kilo in 150 days. So, matagal po ang native to create 1 kilo of meat. No? Okay. Based on meat production, cage system or not free range. So, sa mga commercial broiler types po, ito po yung mga brands na commonly known, no? Cobb, Indian River, Hubbard, are different companies that supply hybrid commercial white chicken production. No? Commercial production of meat is based on cage system. No? Harvested at 24 days. 24 days na lang po at 1.6 kilos live. Ganyan po kabilis. And these are focused more on food security dahil kailangan po natin ng fast production of meat. No? Commercial layer type white eggers naman like dominant D229, Loman, Dekalb White, Highline, Starcross, Novogen are commercial names po. Mga names po yan ng mga layers, layer genetic sources. No? Egg productivity naman no, ay 320 eggs per hen in 72 weeks na naka-cage. Hindi po siya pwedeng dual type dahil masyado pong payat yung ating mga commercial white to be a source of meat. While the broiler type po ay mabilis magtaba, kaya po pagka mataas ang fat content, hindi po siya makakaproduce ng maraming eggs. Po, no? Chickens in poultry farming is based on the market demand and acceptance. So maaari pong may mga farmers tayo, gumagawa sila ng sarili nilang inventong manok, klase ng manok. Kaya lang po itong mga to, is it saleable? Is it within the market parameters na tatanggapin ng market sa area mo? So the broiler meat type po can be divided into cage-free and brown meat types, no? So dito po makikita natin yung brown meat type and white meat type sa right side is for production for meat, no? And then the system or method of production can be cage-free. Makikita po natin dyan na nakakulong sila sa isang malaking hall at meron silang mga laying area kung sila ay breeder or layer or mga pangkarne po, no? And another method is free range, which is a method of farming of poultry, and then pasture, which is a system na inilalagay niyo po sila sa isang kulungan, enclosed, at nililipat-lipat niyo po yan every 3 days or more para po palagi sariwang grasses ang kanilang nakakain. Okay? So, depende po sa demand. Pagka ang demand ay mataas, usually po, nagiging commodity. Pero kung ang demand po is specific, like free-range, pastured, nagiging kakaroon po ng high value dahil po hindi po madali mag-grow ng maliit na volume in a certain time or a certain farming cycle. Dito po nalaman nila kung bakit may layer at bakit may broiler, no? So inaral po nila sa Sweden, sa Uppsala University, na inaral nila bakit ba may layer at bakit may broilers. So layers are breeds or raised to produce prodigious amounts of eggs, ang lakas mga itlog, while broilers are bred to produce plump and meaty muscles, no? So nakita nilang main difference are the thyroid stimulating hormones. Ito yung mga natural hormones ng hayop na magdidictate kung sila ay broiler o layer. So pagka po ito ay merong hormone na fast meat producing hormone ng TSH, ito po ay magpo-produce ng maraming karne at ito ay broiler type. While sa side naman ng kanan, kita nyo payat pero malakas naman mga itlog yung female, yan po ay producing eggs but by nature, mahina po siya mag-karne. So, binalance po ng nature natin yan, no? And in the middle are the dual types. So, hindi siya mabilis masyadong magkarne o malakas masyadong mangitlog, nasa gitna lang siya. Chickens in poultry farming is based on the market demand and acceptance. So, yan po, no? Yung layer types po, nakikita na naman natin yung bulb, no? And ito pong mga layer types ito can be grown into cage-free system, no? Sa kaliwa. Free-range system, colony type, no? Sa isang kulungan, mayroong mga 30 piraso, ganyan. And then you have the pasture type. Okay? Dito naman po sa kanan, yung cage brown meat type, no? Pangkarne na broiler production or white meat or egg type, no? Yan po yung kanyang production. Egg production cage system, not free range. Po, ano ba ibig sabihin niyan? These are the commercial white layers. They produce 320 to 340 eggs per hen in 72 weeks time or less, no? Requires a minimum volume of 7,000 hens to be at least sustainable. Dahil po ang kita ay hindi ganun kalaki, kailangan po mag-produce ng marami. So, kailangan po tayo mag-expose ng more buildings, more capitalization, more investments to earn well. Pagka po below 7,000 po ang inyong layering, ang kita po ay kokonti. So, you are prone to risk in pagbaba ng presyo ng itlog na makaka-apekto sa profitability nyo and eventually sustainability. Due to low margin and volume-based, it is a community product. So, kailangan po maging community product siya dahil manipis lang ang kita. Kung habulin natin ng malaki, kailangan gumastos tayo ng investment na malaki. Nagkakaroon ka ng fluctuating prices, so this will be a problem. And the competition is common kasi commodity product siya. Housing and capital intensive. So, ibig sabihin po, kailangan natin ng proper housing talaga rito and we have to invest on that. Kailangan kasi volume ang production. Undermined by bigger players. Pagka pumalit kayong player dito, mahihirapan mo kayo makasurvive dahil sa kailangan yung gastusin at expose sa kikitain in return. Very competitive market. Kasi pagka ang lugar niyo po ay may mga malalaking players, they can have the PC o yung capital to survive under thinner profit, no? Kaya nila mabuhay ng ganun. Tayo po hindi natin kaya. So after a year's time, hindi na po nagiging sustainable sa mga farmers natin. So yun po yung point natin kung bakit natin kailangan ng ganung sistema, no? Okay? Based on egg production cage system, not free range. So yung mga colored brown egg layers, you can cage your brown egg layers. Basta i-claim nyo lang po, tama. So hindi ho tayo pwede mag-claim ng hindi huwasto sa ginagawa natin. Yung iba ho kasi kumukuha ng brown eggs sa mga breeder farms na malalaki na commercial, tapos binibentang organic, binibentang free range, ng loloko po para kumita lang. Hindi po tama yon, hindi po ba? So iniiwasan po natin yung mga ganyang sistema, no? Okay? So you can cage brown egg layers. Dominant D853, 109, 107, 149. D300 can be used. Malakas mga itlog. More than 300 actually eggs. But small native-like eggs ang D300. More feed efficient. More resilient against common diseases. So sa ganitong klaseng panahon, tropics, no? And kakayanan nating mag-set up ng magandang housing, kayang-kaya po mag-survive ng ganitong klaseng genetics. No value adding for free range. Ibig sabihin po, therefore same qualities as commercial eggs but at a bigger in size. So ibig sabihin po niya, pagka kinulong niyo po yung caged brown egg layers, mas malalaki po yung eggs. But in return, you have to have 120 grams per bird per day feed consumption versus 110 grams. So for cage-free and free-range use, pwede rin po ang brown. Egg production, free-range system. So ito yung mga dual types or classic lines, colored chicken layer types, no? Can be used for cage and free-range, no? So, yun ang kalamangan po ng ating dual type. Ideal for high-value marketing. Kasi po may mga customers po tayo who really prefer free-range eggs, no? Because of the taste is different and the freshness is different, no? More profit, ito yung match pang small farmers. Hindi po kailangan na malaking volume. You can do a small to medium scale program and it is doable, no? Lower capitalization and commercial white layers not ideal because it is highly dependent on the feeds and highly sensitive sa stress. Ang white, mailap po sila. So they are nervous and flighty. And it is less competition for you sa malalaking companies because in your community, pwede na po kayong mag-consume at mag-produce niyan sa area ninyo na hindi po high risk dahil po yung mga kalaban nating mga white layers o mga competitors nating white layer eggs ay ibang market ang sinaserve nila versus sa inyo. Okay. So that is the science behind it, the poultry genetics. So may pangkarnika at pang-itlog production. No? In poultry farming, you must start with the basic foundations. No? Preparation and pre-positioning towards success. Ibig sabihin po, by preparing the knowledge, the housing, the skill, the feeding program, and knowing the system will give you a good profit and a sustainable farming program. No? For example po, yan po yung inyong free-range farm. May mga requirements po tayo na foundations like genetics, skills and management, nutrition, environment. Para po ito ang mga haligi ng inyong farming. Pagka po kayo ay nagpo-farming, ito po yung mga binabalance ninyo. Dahil ito po yung mga haligi, make sure po na tama po yung mga haligi natin para po maging successful yung ating program. And eventually, success. No? Yan po. In free range, dinagdagan po natin yan. Ano? Marketing is always considered to develop your own and maximize profit. So, yung middlemen, inaalis po natin sa factor para po yung kita, diretso sa farmer. So, we have genetics, management, environment, and nutrition, plus market skills and strategy. So, yung ating sistema ng pagmamarket, importante po na ma-develop natin kung gusto natin pumasok sa larangan na ito. Hindi ho tayo maghihintay lang sa mga biyahero o trader. Dahil po mangyayari dyan, babaratin lang ho yung produkto ninyo. Okay, kailangan po diretso tayo sa consumer. Dito naman po, we will discuss the chicken varieties, no? Indigenous varieties, ito po yung mga labuyo, no? Pure asil, etc. They are purely inbred dahil wala ho silang exposure sa bundok sa ibang mga lahi. Very high ang resistance sa disease, no? Highly matibay, less technical maintenance, no? Minsan na less nutritional requirement. Kaya lang ang negative traits po niyan, very slow grower, low egg production, low meat production, and difficult to sustain dahil matagal po ang cycle, low productivity. No? So para pong ganyan yung kanyang chart, no? Yung graph niya, na bago nyo matibay nga siya, pero yung productivity niya ay mababa. Heritage lines, these are specific lines selected for productivity in terms of meat and eggs, but eventually utilized as show type and pure line production. So, may mga 3 types. Kung pure line ka, you have a high meat producer, Jersey Giants. These are names of chickens, no? So, based on the area where they were sumikap. So, Jersey Giants is from New Jersey, Australorp from Australia, Rhode Island Reds are from Rhode Island in America and Hampshire, no? And Cornish is also an area where they were developed and became popular. So, yun po yung naging basis noon on naming chickens. These are high egg producers also, like Italian Leghorns and White Leghorn. Ito po naman ay mga magagaling, mga itlog. Dual lines naman po are categorized as BPR or Barred Plymouth Rocks, no? Rhode Island Reds, and Andalusian Blue. Main breed stocks for modern chicken. Ito po yung ginagamit sa modern chicken production. Still utilized in breeding. So, eventually, if you use these heritage lines for your propagation, nagkakaroon po kayo ng irregular results dahil inbreeding in poultry will create negative traits like high abnormalities, low productivity, dwarfism, mga ganyang problem mo, lumalabas yan. Ito yung mga show types, no, para mga Miss Universe. These are for fanciers and hobbyists, no. Nakikita natin dito sa ibang bansa, they give high value sa ganda ng appearance ng feather and development ng alaga. Sa atin po, hindi pa ganun ka-popular itong programang ito. But it requires, parang pag-hobby po kasi, ang hobby, gastos po yan. Before you can have a medal, no? Ang investment mo dyan, yung popularity, ang inyong reward. But rather than the business side, no? It's not really ideal for business. Fancy breeds are only for hobby and garden chicken use. Hard to produce, to get pure lines, no? Minsan, smuggled pa yung mga yan. Kasi po, bago po kayo maaprobahan ng Department of Agriculture, kailangan po in-approve yung source ninyo as accredited source of importation. So, hindi po pwedeng kung saan-saan lang kayo dadampot ng manok sa ibang bansa at pagdadala nyo rito. Bawal po yun. Meron po tayong mga limitations or legal requirements na bawal po yung basta-basta lang magpapasok because possible contaminations. Pure lines acclimatized in the tropics, no? Yung pong inyong alaga na napakaganda na pinasok nyo, kunyari nakapagpapasok kayo, eventually due to nutrition, weather, and environmental conditions, lumiliit din po yan. Dahil po nag-a-adapt yung katawan ng hayop through genetic adaptation na hindi na siya malaki. For example, yung Brahma po, yung Australorp po, after 3 to 4 generations, maliliit na po sila. Hindi na ganong kalalaki as the original. It's a big investment. You need 12,000 pesos or more for 3 females and 1 male combination of 2 months old. 12,000 pesos po yun. No? So, ibig sabihin po na 3,000 ang isa. Productivity is limited to non-selection of productivity. So, ibig sabihin po niyan, more on the weight ng itsura kaysa sa productivity. So, binibili niyo po siya sa ganda niya. Hindi po yung kakayanan niya mga itlog ng marami o magkarne sa least na feeds. No? It's not a commercial chicken production. No marketing program, hit or miss. Pagka merong naging interest, doon po kayo pumapasok, no? Meron po mga customer, magbabayad po yan basta nagandahan sa mga manok for garden chicken production, no? But it is not a regular supply like katulad po sa food, no? Sa pagkain po talagang consume lagi, consume ng consume. Dito po mamimili lang po kayo ng customer. Mataas po ang maintenance, hindi po pwedeng basta ilagay lang po sa likuran ng bahay. Imagine nyo po, pagka nakain po ng aso nyo yan, o pusa ninyo yan, o ng kapitbahay, mahal pong fried chicken yan. Mahal pong mamatayan kayo ng isa, 3,000. No? Masakit po. Tapos po, economies of scale is not viable due to minimal demand. Eventually po, yung nakabili sa inyo is also your competitor. Kaya po, I really, for farmers who are focused more on yung kumita sa negosyo ng farming, hindi po ito ang match sa inyo. Ito po ay for fanciers, for show types, no? Yung mga yan, pwede po dito, yung mga mahilig sa ganyan. Pero po for business and profit, mahirap po ditong kumita. Kaya po ngayon pa lang, sinasabi ko na sa inyo, bago po kayo mag-embark sa ganitong programa. Yan po ang mga itsura niyan, ano? Napakaganda po mga manok. It is good for show types, no? Kahit po sa mga regular barred Plymouth Rock or Rhode Island Reds, may mga show type categories po na talaga po pwedeng ilaban sa mga shows. Pero usually shows, you have medals and trophies. Yung pong profit is always secondary, no? Then we have the commercial hybrid lines, no? Ito po yung mga nakikita nating malalaking poultry farm, no? Kailangan po yan for food security and more for business, for earning. Talagang priority niya kumita. Parang labas lang ng labas ng manok, produce ng produce. It is the earnings that is more important, no? Rather than small volumes or individual volumes. Faster meat production dahil 1.6 kilos lang in 26 days. High egg production, sa mga layers naman, 320 eggs in a year. But it requires high technology and high capital, no? So you have to have that money and the technology to do it. Highly sensitive to diseases and changes in environment. Kaya po nagkaroon po ng mga special housing yan, tunnel ventilated system, no? So cool cell, meron silang mga sistema dyan na para sa loob ay maginhawa pa rin magstay yung mga manok. At nakakulong po yan doon sa ganong tunnel ventilation. Ang modern broiler po from 1957 to 2005, ito lang po ay nag-illustrate kung paano po na-develop ang genetics na maging ganito. Hindi po ito GMO. That's one thing that we have to settle once and for all. Ito po ay through genetic selection, scientific-based programs. Hindi po ito yung mga minumodify po yung kanilang DNA. Hindi po. Wala pa po tayo sa level na yon at wala po tayo nung isang cell ginagawa nilang manok, hindi po ganun. But as you see, ang bilis na nilang lumaki ngayon because the demand for food is so high, no? And the business requires it. It's 1.6 kilos in 26 days. Baka eventually rin nga ho, hindi nyo masasabi, 10 years, 15 years from now, kung lalagay lang po kayo ng parang isang cube sa isang tubig, magic na ho, fried chicken na kaagad. We'll never know sa mga nangyayari ngayon, no? A normal chicken in 5.5 weeks old, 940 grams lang po yan. But a selectively bred, hindi po genetically modified, no? It is selected, no? It is selected, no? To grow faster. Eventually po, naging business na po siya na up to the point that it is an integrated system. Diyan na pumasok ang integration dahil lahat ng inputs manggagaling sa inyong company source. Pati yung feed, sisiw, technology, and slaughtering. So, nagkaroon po ng integration. Kaya po meron po tayong mga big companies ngayon present for this program. Dahil kailangan po ng demand ng chicken ay malaki. Okay? Eventually, giant chickens will be the next big animal welfare issue. Ngayon po ay nangyayari na yan. And eventually po, hindi maalis sa presence niyan dahil sa livestock po, nagkakaroon na po ng animal welfare issues. How to produce animals for food. A modern hybrid chicken, robustness versus productivity, medyo sensitive po yan pag pinalaki nyo, kaya lang ang productivity niya ay malakas. So, yun po yung kanyang graphical representation ng sa kanyang graph. No? Ang classic commercial lines naman ay ito. No? These are more balanced genetics that does not sacrifice too much yung tibay of the classic lines but still productive. No? Sustainable due to good genetics used and less undesirable traits. So, yung mga genetics na para makatulong sa farmer na maging matibay siya at still productive, nandyan po. Less technology needed, thus less capital ang required. Nandito po tayo sa programang ito. Higher value, no? Kasi po mas mahal ang benta ng free range, pastured at cage-free. Lower productivity than hybrids. Yun naman ang kapalit, no? 280 eggs versus 320 eggs sa mga white players. 70 days versus 26 days for 1 kilo, 1.5 kilos. Kaya lang dahil sa age, sa kanilang edad, ay sila ay mas madinamnam compared sa mga fast growers. No? Dual purpose lines din po. Females for eggs, while males for meat. Yan po ay lamang ng isang class commercial. Very ideal for small to medium scale farming. Kung magmamanok po kayo, magpoprograma kayo for egg and meat, chicken meat production, dapat po ito ang inyong inaaral. Ito pong ginagawa ng ating sistema. Dahil hindi po tayo makakasabay sa mga malalaking kumpanya kung white chicken market ang gusto nating kunin. Genetic selection and checklist for classic lines. Ano po ba mga checklist na ginagawa nila for classic lines? Genetics can be hybridized and can hold true to its offspring. Ibig sabihin po, pag kinross nyo po yung nanay at tatay, nagproduce kayo ng sisiw, ang production niya, 99% magkakapareho itsura. So, the productivity and uniformity is there already. And product must be commercially viable. Kailangan po yung inaalagaan natin, mabebenta natin. Kahit pumunta ka sa norte ng Luzon, no? Sa mula Apari hanggang Hulo, yung manok na yan ay mabebenta. So, dahil po adapted siya or accepted yung kanyang produce kahit saan ka pumunta sa Pilipinas. Effective feed consumers, no? As I've said, 70% of our cost is feeds. Then productive and efficiency is the main priority. So that your feed consumption will be lower. Must be robust, matibay. Hindi po yung pagka nainitan lang konti ay nagkakasakit na o namamatay. Kailangan po kayang i-handle ng common farmers. Matibay po siya sa mga common diseases. Basta ipa-follow lang po yung mga sistema ng pagpapalaki. Maximum productive potential can be achieved. 1.4 to 1.5 kilos in 70 days for inasal type and 280 eggs layer type. No? Ito po yung mga objective or target natin when we grow classic commercial lines. Why do we need hybrid classic commercial lines? Classic lines are found to be the most balanced genetics for free range and cage system. Kaya po ito ang ating dinadala. No? Only market opportunity for smallholder farmers. Yun yung sinasabi ko na dito lang po tayo makakapag-produce and sustain ng poultry farming dahil po yung ating produkto ay nabibili po sa magandang halaga na hindi po kailangan napakarami ng inyong alagaan. No? Specialty product, no? Higher cost to produce versus white, so hindi siya commodity, so selling price is higher, and direct to consumer, farm to home program ang ating pinopromote. Effective in local farming program sa mga probinsya. Yun po ang minimal access sa mga manok. Ito po ang pwede nyong gawing farming sa poultry for egg and meat. So yan po, no, pagka pinakita natin yung kanyang graph, no. So hindi po siya ganun kalakas mag-produce, pero matibay po siya and enough po siya to produce a sustainable program of poultry farming sa inyong locality. Genetics and sustainable free-range farming. In farming, everything starts with genetics. Always remember po yan. Marami pong nagkakaroon ng error dyan sa system na yan dahil hindi po pwedeng makita nyo kamukha ho lang ng picture na nakita nyo sa ibang lugar, yun ay yun lang. Hindi po. Meron pong science-based program nga ang kailangan i-follow. In developed countries, they really invest on good genetics. Good genetics is only around 7 to 10% of your cost as compared to the feeds and the risk that you will do. So, dapat po maganda po yung lahi na hawak natin. It is the lifeblood of your farming program. So, ibig sabihin po, dyan po magdidictate kung maganda po ang resulta. Eventually po kasi yung inyong customer, makikita ho yung resulta ng inyong production. Pagka po marami po silang failures, hindi na ho magtutuloy. Sabihin natin marami namang market na iba. Eventually, makikilala tayo sa ganong sistema. Kaya po, inilulugar ko kayo sa tamang sistema na science-based. No? Good genetics means good produce. Genetics and a sustainable free-range farming. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Hindi ko kailangan maging super chicken yung ipoproduce natin. Ang importante po, tumatakbo yung ating programa, kumikita ho tayo, happy po mga customer nyo, masarap po yung produkto. Yun lang ho. Hindi na kailangan super duper chicken. Ang iniisip pa natin, mag-breedingan. Ako, from the start po, alam nyo, when we start with Dominance Easy, kung ano po yung pinrescribe nung geneticist, yun lang ho pinapala namin. Ito na po ang narating ng programa. Yung pong mga nag-iimbe-imbento, tingnan nyo po hanggang saan yung programa na gagawa nila. Kasi po, you have to redo it again and again. Pagka po hindi po uniform ang resulta, nagkakaroon ng variances, meat quality, egg productivity, quality of egg, size of eggs, magkakaproblema po kayo sa customer later on. Kaya po, farmers will seek better chickens for their production. Always maximize the genetic potential of the flock. Ibig sabihin po, kung alin po yung makukombine natin, pinakamagandang potential ng manok. Ganda ng produkto, ganda ng bilis ng laki, dami ng itlog. Ito po ang kailangan maximize ng genetic potential. Hindi yung pagka nagkaanak po, gagamitin natin breeder, mag-inbreeding tayo dahil gusto natin makamenes ng feeds, makamenes ng pagbili. Eventually po, lumiliit po yan. Lumiliit din ho yung itlog sizes, egg sizes, at lumiliit po yung inyong kita at nawawala po ang ating mga customer. A predictable production outcome is a good ally for sustainable farming. Kung mapoproject nyo na ho with the use of the manual, with the use of productivity based on science testing, yung pong resulta, makakwenta nyo na po kung magkano kikitain ninyo. Malalaman nyo na po, by after 70 days, you can harvest this volume of chicken. Hindi po yung hantay tayo ng hantay na lumaki o mag-produce yung manok. Dahil habang tumatagal po yan, gumagastos tayo. Kaya po nilalagyan natin ng science program. No? A mixed bag will always produce a mixed outcome. Ang chop suey po, hindi po mag-purify basta-basta. At yung resulta po, pag kami nakita tayong magandang isa, sa 10 sinelect natin, ibabalik ko natin uli yun, ibabacross natin, i-inbreed natin, yung resulta po niyan will not be the same. So, yung tinatagal niya pong pag-experiment, pag-breeding, yung ibang farmer na nag-aral ng tamang programa, kumuha ng tamang genetics, kumikita na ho ngayon. Rather than doing experiment, being famous on having your own genetic program, mas maganda po siguro, mas mag-focus tayo sa sustainability ng inyong program to be a good agri-entrepreneur. Kikita ho kayo kagad. No? always practice a closed herd system. Papakita po natin ang closed herd system. Genetics and sustainable free-range farming. Regular and reliable production is very important. Yung pong by next month, alam nyo yung ilalabas ng volume ng eggs and meat kasi po yung customer nyo nag-iintay yan. At hindi po tumatagal yan. Humahanap po ng iba yan pagka hindi yung nakukuha yung resultang produce sa inyo. Uniform production is very important. Kung ang sizes ng eggs ay purong large, gusto kuha kayo ng mga customer. Pero pagka small ho yan, maghanap po ng ibang source yan. Uniform quality is very important. Yung quality po at freshness ay very important. Pagka binuksan po yung manok, kinatay, inihaw, yung amoy, yung ganda ng karne, ay nandun. Hindi po pag nagbiyak, payat. Yung isa, mas payat. Nagbiyak ulit, pinakapayat ang lumabas. So, hindi po yun ang hunger strike ang nangyayari itsura ng ating mga alaga. Kailangan po ay pag mahita, uniform halos ang production ng hita ng manok. Therefore, a sustainable farming can be attained. Just basing on productivity and production ng eggs ng native chicken, can produce only 30 to 50 eggs a year compared dito sa mga hybrids na to. Ang bottom line rito, hindi po ko anti-native or anti-native chicken. Hindi po. Ang bottom line dito, kumita yung Filipino farmer. Okay? Na inadapt niya yung system na tama to make it sustainable. Kaya po madalang o kokonti o halos wala, mabibilang sa daliri, ang mga integrated native chicken farming production. Dahil po ang mangyayari po dyan, mabagal po ang turnover, kukunti po ang bago po kayo makakuha ng market, na-overcome na ho ang market ng ibang supplier. So, kailangan po yun ang i-consider natin, yung bulsa ng ating Pinoy farmer, Filipino farmer. Yung pong kita niya para pakain niya sa pamilya niya, yung cash flow umiikot. And you need a high-producing animal for that. Another illustration or picture based on magagawin tayo ng native chicken production. 1 to 2 kilos. So, it needs a long time to produce that. So, matagal po ang inyong turnover. Okay? F1 farming versus native farming, no? Makikita natin dito, mas mabilis mag-produce ng meat versus 1 kilo after 8 months, no? I always say, hindi ako against sa native farming. Kaya lang, pagka isinubo natin yan sa mga farmers, tapos ganyan ang resulta, ma-disappoint yung mga yan, kawawa naman sila. So, habulin natin yung maging successful sila. More eggs produced for F1 farming, 280 eggs per year, versus egg production of 60 eggs per year. Nearest to native taste, so lasang native din po yan. Pag tama po yung inyong timpla ng growing at production at pakain, tender din po yan. More harvest of eggs, more produce, consistent production. No? What is a closed herd system? What is a closed herd system? No? Yan po yung i-discuss natin after a while. And we will have some video showings muna so that you have an idea of the development of free-range farming sa Pilipinas.